Welcome back, everyone. This week, Alan Ritchson was in the news for a massive fight that a lot of people mistakenly thought was just another behind-the-scenes moment from the new season of Reacher. It was not from the new season of Reacher. It was real, because the footage shows him absolutely humbling this other man named Ronnie Taylor in the middle of their street. This whole thing is going to go down as a classic textbook example of why you don't pick a fight with Reacher. Do not pick a fight with Reacher. This was literally taken inside the neighborhood where Alan Ritchson lives, and this other dude lives near the other dude's home. And you can see that Alan Ritchson is out with his kids riding their motorcycles together. What happened first was this Ronnie Taylor person released his own heavily edited footage to TMZ along with an interview, making it seem like Alan Ritchson attacked him in the middle of the street because he absolutely humbles him. One, it's probably a bad idea to try and pick a fight with Reacher, but the footage that he released made it seem like Alan Ritchson falsely tried to attack him first, which is not the case. We later find out this is a huge lie.
He rode past once, twice, and on the second time I walked out in front of him and I said, "You've got to stop. Someone's going to get hurt." Second time he got off his bike and kicked the crap out of me. And you can see he hit me in the back of my head. I went to the ground and covered myself.
Keep in mind, this Ronnie Taylor person gave his interview to TMZ on the spot before Alan Ritchson had his own chance to actually respond publicly to what really happened, the actual version of events. So in his initial interview, this Ronnie Taylor guy basically tried to make it seem like he's the world's best neighbor trying to protect his neighborhood, white knighting all over the place, and Alan Ritchson is this maniac riding his bike around high speeds, breaking the law all over the place, potentially threatening the lives of everybody else. Right away, TMZ and all the other major news outlets ran with that version of events, the false version of events, like something had really seemed like it had gone wrong with Alan Ritchson. He'd always seemed like a totally nice dude. Why would he randomly attack one of his neighbors? This just seems absolutely crazy. Clearly, something had to be up. We were missing part of the story, and it turns out you were right on the money if you felt like you're missing some of the story. Alan Ritchson himself then, just a little while later after that had gone down, after the news cycle had picked up, released his own body cam footage from the motorcycle that was unedited, a much longer version of events showing what really did happen. This is his full unedited body cam footage. Notice in Alan Ritchson's body cam footage that other Ronnie Taylor dude is caught in 4K. Alan Ritchson did humble him big time. You do not pick a fight with Reacher. He definitely effed around and found out. When you slow down the footage, you zoom in and enhance, you notice that Alan Ritchson was only going about 24 miles an hour, which is below the residential speed limit. He was with his children, so it makes sense that he would be going slower than the actual speed limit, so he is not driving like a maniac, refuting some of the claims of this other Ronnie Taylor dude. Kinda seems like they were just enjoying an afternoon, riding around casually, and then notice the tires on his bike, Alan Ritchson's bike, they look pretty clean, meaning that he probably doesn't ride his bike that often, so Ronnie Taylor claiming that he was riding around all the time like this, also false. And even more damning, the full unedited body cam footage depicts this Ronnie Taylor person going full male Karen, completely misinterpreting the events and jumps out in front of him while his bike is moving around 24 miles an hour. Alan Ritchson slams on the brakes, which throws him over the front, so he's not completely uninjured in all this, like he flies over the front of his bars, but thankfully he was wearing a helmet, so his head was not injured. Then this Ronnie Taylor person gets up on him and pushes him like he puts hands on Alan Ritchson first, before Alan Ritchson pushes him back to defend himself where he falls to the ground. This paints a very different picture of events in the initial edited footage that Ronnie Taylor released of his version of events. It made it seem like Alan Ritchson was attacking him first, and that's what he told to TMZ. He made it seem like Alan Ritchson attacked him first, when really that's not the case at all. He attacked Alan Ritchson first. Also, when you think about it, Alan Ritchson, even though he was only going 21, 24 miles an hour, if you actually get hit by a bike going that fast, even though it doesn't seem like it's that fast, you will break most of your bones. So Alan Ritchson saved that dude a trip to the emergency room when he jumped out in front of his bike. Some of the other context here too, Alan Ritchson did not lose control. If he had really opened up on him full power, like punch to the face, he would have knocked that dude out unconscious before he hit the ground. Like a little concussion, some light brain damage, maybe, in a lifetime of pain management. What happened next after Alan Ritchson released his own body cam footage? Ronnie Taylor then goes back on TMZ and does a full 180 of his version of events. Like, oh yeah, maybe it was a little bit different and it wasn't that big a deal anyway. Notice he says he never bothered to lawyer up, claiming that Alan Ritchson is a Hollywood guy, he has powerful lawyers, and didn't think that he had a chance of fighting them, when really it seems like what's going on here is that any dime store or ambulance chaser lawyer would tell you that the footage tells the whole story, that he was clearly the one at fault, not Alan Ritchson, and no judge or jury would ever find in his favor, and he had no case. So a lot of people actually thought what was really going on here is that this Alan Taylor dude was just looking for a paycheck. So you kind of feel bad for Alan Ritchson here, who seems like he was just out with his kids for a ride when this dude gets up in his face and causes all this trouble.
It escalated quite quickly from there.
Can you even imagine the hubris of this smaller dude randomly trying to pick a fight with one of the biggest units on the planet on TV right now? Pick a fight with Reacher. That is not going to go well for anyone. I can count the number of fights that I've been in during my lifetime on one hand, and every single one of them was when I was a very little kid, long before I turned 14 and got my black belt in Taekwondo. Normally, you think learning martial arts, getting a black belt, you become a stone cold badass, you get in all kinds of fights, you win all kinds of fights, but that is absolutely not the case. What winds up happening to most people, especially younger people like I was at the time, is that the process of training to actually become a black belt in any martial art, like it doesn't matter what the martial art is, requires so much physical and philosophical study that it's some of the best therapy you will ever have. And by the time I got my black belt, I'd become so zen, so more chill about everything in general, that I never actually found myself ever actually getting into a fight ever again, never wanting to get into a fight for that matter. In a lot of situations like this Alan Ritchson one that escalate into fights never actually escalate into fights. Now, to be fair, I never almost ran into someone on a motorcycle, like nobody ever attacked me while I was on a motorcycle. And I also started to actively try to de-escalate any situation that ever felt like it was going to turn into a fight in the first place. So you find that the more you train to fight, the less you actually wind up getting in fights. Just in general, you gain a level of maturity and common sense that you did not have before. One of the other big problems that a lot of people don't think about when they get into bar fights or just random fights on the street is that as adults, anytime you get into a fight, there's a pretty solid chance that one of you is going to get sued and one of you is going to lose and pay a lot of money. So it's just not worth it to get into fights even in the first place. From this Alan Ritchson body cam footage, you think that they were living in Florida. Like all this other dude needed to be full Florida man was to be shirtless while this was happening, maybe like have a couple cans of Beast Light and an exotic pet in his lawn. One of the big problems with stars like Alan Ritchson, like big Hollywood stars, is that just by measure of being a big Giga Chad dude, all kinds of other dudes everywhere will see you as a target and try to start shit with you just to prove that they have skills. And of course, the other big problem, money. Being a super rich Hollywood star, super popular Hollywood star, makes you a big target for lawsuit vultures looking to cash in like this in situations where they think that they even have a sliver of a shot of a jury finding their favor. This is like one of those situations where you get burned by coffee at McDonald's, then try to win because McDonald's has lots of money. This is one of the reasons why you see even the most badass dudes in Hollywood rolling around with an entourage of security guards, even when they're out in public at events, like really casual things, because the security guards are there to protect you as much as they are there to protect them. The only things picking a fight with Reacher are going to get you is a trip to the emergency room and him a lawsuit. I mean, you can make all the jokes you want to about Chapel Roan being in the news for her security guard attacking an 11-year-old girl, but that security guard came out later and said that he has no connection to her, and he just randomly attacked this 11-year-old girl on his own. But you can see how a lot of security guards working for like big stars here are mostly for lawsuit prevention purposes.
Well, this is going to go bad for both of you.
And when you think about it, Alan Ritchson has a much stronger case against this other guy if he did want to sue him. But now that the truth is out, like now that he actually released his own unedited body cam footage, the way that Alan Ritchson makes it seem is that he doesn't plan to actually sue this guy, like he's not going to pursue a lawsuit against him. Mostly seems like he's going to get his justice having this dude dragged in the press now that all the truth is out there. He also just released this video on his Instagram yelling at his haters about something completely different, but you can kind of see the energy here. This is all happening like right after this male Karen incident went down. Some people also ask, even if Alan Ritchson isn't at fault here, will this cause him to lose some work just because of the bad press, just in general? I don't think this is going to hurt him with his movies or TV shows or anything like that. Usually, that only happens if the star, like the megawatt star, is found to be at fault, or if the crime that they're accused of seems way, way worse, and there is not convincing enough video evidence to back up their side of events. And at least in this case, Alan Ritchson was fortunate to have his body cam on, capturing everything with no cuts. So let this be a lesson to all those who ride motorcycles. Wear a body cam. You never know when some random male Karen will go full beast mode on you in the middle of the street. Protect yourself. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below. You would be surprised at how often stuff like this happens, especially if you are a famous person. People will come after you for all kinds of crazy reasons. I know there was a lot of talk about Alan Ritchson potentially becoming the new version of Batman. James Gunn talked about speaking with Alan Ritchson about being a new DC character, and the way that Alan Ritchson talks about it, he would do something for DC, but it would not be Batman, like it'll be some other character. There are a number of Giga Chad characters that he could play in James Gunn's DCU. Let me know in the comments who you want him to play. Real ones remember when he was the Aquaman of the DCU before there was a DCU, like during the Smallville era. He has already been on the Justice League. We are also currently in the middle of Daredevil Born Again episodes and Invincible episodes. I just posted the latest episode videos for that. Click here for my Daredevil episode and click here for my Invincible episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.